So after that session, it's going to be really difficult to try and get all your attention and energy, but I'm going to do my best because we have a fantastic panel. And we keep talking about sport, and given that this is an audience of media, you all play an extremely pivotal role in an athlete's journey and in helping brands look at athletes. Whenever we say athletes, we constantly think of cricketers. The attempt of this session is really going to be to see if we can slowly shift that thought process through our panelists. So I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Abhishek Reddy. He's the principal owner of Hyderabad Blackhawks and owner of Telugu Talents. Thank you, Abhishek. We have Mr. Chandrasekhar Reddy. He's the Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing of Gemini Edibles and Fats India Private Limited. Mr. R. Venkata Subramanian from Avas Media India. I think we need a big round of applause for him. He's going to also talk to us about the very, very interesting concept. Opportunity to, thank both Dimension Media, Shankar and Bharat. You have done such a fantastic setup here. To have these conversations is so important, and I'm really excited that I'm getting this opportunity to moderate this very exciting session. So before I start, I just wanted to read a quick excerpt from this book, which we kind of put together. And this will aim to set context of why we all are here. So this is called Go, India Sporting Transformation. So when Go Sports turned 10, we wanted to actually celebrate how far sport has come in India. Because every time we speak about sport, we're always thinking we're not there. We're not there. So it's very interesting to see Mr. Santosh Desai, who's also a very, very prominent person in the advertising and media world, who has written this. Brands need celebrities, for they are guaranteed attention magnets. As brands strive to get noticed in an increasingly competitive space, as entertainment options multiply, they need the help of celebrities of all kinds to associate with. So before we get into all the conversations, I would love to ask each one of you, if you could choose one person as the brand ambassador of your company, anyone in India, who would it be and why?
I support Dhoni. So whenever we talk about sports personality, I think Dhoni is a team player actually. Okay, an organization requires a brand doesn't evolve of its own. It's all because of the team collaboration, right from the production to the end consumer. There should be a complete network aligned thought process. So I think Dhoni is a very big inspiration for I think all of us. So I would recommend Dhoni.
To reiterate what you just said, how many of you are from Hyderabad and probably know Hyderabad Blackhawks? Oh, that's quite a few actually. And how many of you know Vijay Devarkonda? That's a lot of them. So right there is the answer to your question, which is, do we need celebrities? Absolutely yes. Because we already have Vijay Devarkonda on board, I'll try and go for another one. We're going to have India's, in the world of motorsport, India doesn't have a team yet. The motorsport has been around for about 70 years now, but FIM, none of the MotoGP or anything has any Indian team, and we're going to be changing that this year. Starting next year, we're going to be having an Indian team, and obviously we're going to be looking for brand ambassadors. And sorry for the long-winded answer. We'll probably reach out to John Abraham or Dhoni, who actually has a lot of bikes as well. So yeah, thank you.
Undoubtedly, sport personality, no doubt. Because the sports personalities they are all positive, and they put a lot of effort to win. On the journey, they may lose, but the sports personality always wanted to win, right? So I'll always recommend sports personality. Especially the thing is, I always push our clients right now. So let me come to that point. So always I push any of our brand also to own one sport. Basically, see example, judo is a game, or table tennis is a game. Own a game. When they are winning, basically give them a lot of infrastructure and facilities, everything to them. When they win, the brand can get the mileage out of it. For example, Odisha government, what they have done, they have supported hockey, right? When the Commonwealth game, when the hockey team won silver, the Odisha government took entire credit out of it. Basically, they have helped them. So they got the credit. So always I prefer to give what the sports is not doing well because of the infrastructure, because of support. We support those games and make them a brand ambassador. When they are winning, the brand automatically go up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. My TG is SEC, BCD. You gave me option of any.
You can choose anyone based on
celebrity.
your comfort.
So I would rather choose a 20 years younger Amitabh Bachchan. So
Okay, why?
that would be my preference because he has connect across the nation, across the TGs, across the territories, geographical territories. It is not so effective right now. He is not so effective right now.
So what about you?
Yeah, the audience should know that I work for an edible oil company. My brand is Freedom. Okay, if you ask me a personal choice, I can say something, yes, of my choice, but in marketing, personal choices doesn't matter. What matters is where is my audience, what is my customer, where are my consumers, whether consumers are connected to this category, whether that particular personality that I choose. So being an edible oil company, it is much more than health. If you talk about a sports person, it all talks about the fitness and health. But when it comes to cooking and food, it is much more than a health, fun, emotional connect. So we somehow have been refining it, connecting with the sports. But there are some limitations. Why? Because when it comes to a sports person, they are connected to the entire country. Although we are the regional brand, we are in the 7-8 states, we are the largest selling brand even though. But when it comes to, film actors, you connect to that local, that Telugu means Telugu actor, Kannada actor, you connect them well. So personally, yes, I do like Dhoni. But yes, officially when it comes to my brand, sports is a misfit, I feel so.
No, that's very interesting, and I think a large part of our conversation today is to understand what is the thought process for organizations and brands in choosing their brand ambassador. And I think the role of the media here is very critical because a lot of you are recommending or suggesting names. So if I could actually come back to you, sir. So what is that thought process when you say, film actors, and majority of you said a sportsman or a film actor, right? Or a cricketer, and I would say cricketer, sportsman, and then a film actor. So what is the thought process from your marketing side? Obviously, we spoke about data in the morning, we spoke about leads, we spoke about regional requirements. There's a whole bunch of discussions, but for you specifically, driving this.
Edible oil penetration is 100%. Every home requires edible oil. At least 98% of the homes require. But the occasion at which they buy is different. Who people buy probably when they have money. Rich people, maybe normal man buys every time. So when it comes to, then again we are in the Freedom, sunflower oil which is largest. It is used in South India, it is 70% of the homes are using sunflower oil. So the penetration is there in the villages, even in the towns, even in the cities like Hyderabad. So here, the question is, can you repeat the question again? I forgot.
No, so how do you as an organization go about choosing that strategy?
Yeah, so celebrity is not that we have to choose celebrity. So we have been not choosing, we have not been working with celebrity at least for 7-8 years. But when the situation comes, today when companies enter, they just enter with the sales and later migrate to distribution and marketing and thereon. Then once everybody is onto marketing, then the next comes, how do we influence, who can influence my consumer better? So it is not the celebrity alone, which the story that we communicate, the narrative that we communicate, it matters the most than the celebrity alone.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing up that point that influencers are very important in this journey. Abhishek, I'm going to come to you, as somebody whose primary goal is to really develop non-cricket sports, and a lot of your passion and projects and investments are towards non-cricket sports. What has been that thought process and how did you go about that journey?
Cricket bashing session. I mean, if you give me an opportunity, I have so many things against it, but I'm sure all of us love it as a religion. So if you look at pure statistics, and I'm sure the media has a lot of these statistics, and I'm pulling it from the media actually, 88% of some 20,000 crores that are going to be put into advertising by 2025, 88% goes into cricket and cricketers. That would leave about 12% for the rest of the games. And come Olympics, come, Asian Games, we're all sort of disappointed, and, we start talking about things that, that should naturally be thought before, right? And so what I feel is a country this large, 1.5 billion people, you can't just create 20 athletes and just keep following them, right? So I think as a country, we need to do this now, create infrastructure for sport beyond just cricket, and expose kids to it, because I think we love cricket because we're exposed to it as a kid. But I'm sure the younger kids now are playing basketball. They watch NBA. Why are you letting them watch something else that we could probably be good at as well, right? So that's a thought process. I'm very passionate about it, in the sense that I know, from a monetary perspective, it's probably a losing cause, but I feel it's quite important that we need to push for the leagues, create that enthusiasm, create that opportunity for a lot of athletes, and just the leagues that I own. I do see a direct result of them playing in season 1, going back, and they're recognized in their towns and districts and all of that. That creates a lot more fans to the younger kids, right? And a lot more stars that they can look up to, not just Dhoni, Kohli, and just a couple of names, right? So that's my personal journey.
Great, thank you so much. And it's very refreshing to hear someone talk about sport in a broader sense of, physical literacy, getting kids active, and just at the end of the day, when all of us are fit, you just have a better lifestyle more than anything else. Winning and medals is really an outcome of a process. With that, I'm really going to come to Mr. Raghavanand. I'd like to understand, with your product in Bambino, you have a lot of healthy products as well from the oats side. So, so far we've not really seen too many sports or celebrities on that side. So what, your audience is very different, like you rightly mentioned, right? Your target audience is very, so what is your process for an organization like yours? How do you all go about it?
Okay, in principle, we would love to have sports personality compared to film personalities, because sports personality, they appeal across the audiences. Unlike film personality, some people may like some star, some people may like the other star. Sports personality is actually a real performance. So that would really add a lot of value to us, except that, as he said, a couple of players like MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli, not many would recognize other sports personalities across the, common strata, So that is the stumbling block. But going forward, we would definitely consider sports personality, because we can also, put their faces on the packs to,
Absolutely. I think our objective has been met.
Yeah, that is my objective.
I hope you're recording this, because I'm going to go knock on his door tomorrow.
Yeah. Except that it has to cut across the,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just to share some statistics, India is actually sending our largest contingent to the Asian Games. We're actually close to 800 athletes this time, and we have 3 team games that are also going. And today, when you talk about a Neeraj Chopra, he has become a household name today. A PV Sindhu, a Saina Nehwal. You have Chirag Satwik from Hyderabad itself, who's world number 2. So I think it's important that media and brands can also approach it in that manner, because journeys of athletes take 8 to 10 years to develop, just like how brands take time. So I'm just leaving that. And coming to our play, can you walk us through the thought process in terms of how do you convince brands to look at sports people or sports leagues in your negotiations? Because I'm sure there's a lot of pushback that comes.
Yeah.
So how do you, talk them through this?
Well, this is normal. Whenever we go to any client meeting, the first point the client asks about cricket, right? Cricket cut across all markets, all TG. Cricket is mass, right? So it's like, we always tell, if you have money, be in cricket, right? Yes, cricket delivers also. ROI also it delivers. It's not that it's mass, it delivers, right? We can't compare cricket versus other emerging sports, as simple as that. Keep cricket side, and today if you can see all the emerging sports in India, right? From Pro Kabaddi League, ISL, this is soccer, volleyball, table tennis, Coco, and handball. This series started. Like all the emerging sports are doing very well. If you know, PKL is they already finished 9 season, and ISL also finished 9 season. So, like what it means to us, it means these both sports are doing very well year on year. They were started with 8 teams. Today, PKL is 12 teams. ISL, they started 8 teams. Today, they are 11 teams, right? So the sports is growing year on year, year on year. Just I'll put the numbers in place. IPL, like viewed in TV, 500 plus million people watched IPL, right? Comparatively, when I'm putting PKL, we have reached 260 million people were through PKL. ISL has reached 180 million. The volleyball last year has delivered 200 plus million people watched volleyball also, right? Other sports like handball or coco or new sports they started recently. But when you are comparing these sports, right, that emerging sports is doing year on year is very well. Okay, it's not all about TVR. It's not all about GRP or CPRP. It's all about these sports is all about impact. It's all about association. It's all about engagement. It's all about activation. It's all about market, right? What kind of market which you are going to target? For example, if the client says, I want to target East or South, we always suggest them to take ISL or volleyball. These sports definitely delivers there. Whenever we speak to the client, it's not all about, that's what I mentioned, TVR or something, what kind of meaningful association which we can create. That the engagement audience, right, that is very important. Whenever it's not putting a logo on the jersey, it's not enough. How we are going to activate the brand. That's what we go and tell the client in a lesser cost. When you are comparing with cricket, these emerging sports definitely delivers. For example, like Nestle or MasterCard, gaming clients, PNB, those brands already started taking non-cricket as well as a brand ambassador. What it shows, these are the powerful of emerging sports in India. Very soon, emerging sports will grow, but the cricket is going to be the king. There's a mass, no doubt about it. But at the same time, emerging sports is also growing in India. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Again, very heartening to hear the statistics and viewership and engagement that has really come out of it. Sharath, I'm going to come to you as somebody who's played sport, somebody who's tried to make it to the top, and I'm sure everyone here has a sports story, either from school or college. How much of what you learned from sport do you apply into your decision making in your company? And I have a follow-up question. You have other brands like, say, Ambuja Cements and all of them where they've used Great Kali already as a brand ambassador. So in discussions internally, how do you make those decisions of whether to go with, an athlete or not go with an athlete?
Before answering to your question, first I would like to raise one point. Two things Great Britain has left India, but they left two things. One is English, another one is cricket. First, we all should understand cricket has been part of our DNA now. But being a martial artist, 20 years back, I'm talking about I was a martial artist. Okay, I was one of the youngest black belt in India. There was no absolute scope for being a martial artist. This is what I'm sharing. This is a pain which I had. I just want to share. Everybody was, even today we are talking about cricket. There are so many tradition sports. For example, Kabaddi, Kalari, that is all Kerala-based sport. Silambam, Tamil Nadu-based sport. These are all being slowly killed. Now, there is a shift in the thought process again. A lot of new masters have been evolved in recent times. Not everybody can become a sports person, okay? And not everybody can become a Dhoni. But sports like badminton, whether you have till late 50s you can play badminton, okay? Till you die you can practice martial arts. So there are certain sports which has been overpowered by a bigger sport like cricket. So, and cricket, coming back, why are we all sticking to cricket is, though I may be supporting Dhoni, doesn't mean I like cricket. Okay, that both having a different perspective. So, cricket as a sport has been developed by corporates like us, owners like these gentlemen. Okay, so once during the independence time, a lot of money was spent on cricket because it was the game of lords. Okay, we just adapted ourselves to cricket. Otherwise, coming back now, lot of, as a friend rightly said, lot of new sports, not new sports, our traditional sports has been coming up. The awareness has been increased now. So I think being a marketing guy, I feel I would personally try to develop regional based sport. Okay, we are not a national brand. I represent a brand. I come from a building material background. I've worked with cement, national players like Ultratech, and now I'm into regional players. Okay, regional players, and every 200 kilometers, your food habit changes. Okay, likewise, your consumer behavior also changes. Okay, so it doesn't mean everything will be, I mean, one brand ambassador cannot satisfy the, I mean, we cannot have a brand ambassador across the nation. What was that question you were asking me? Coming back.
Yeah, I think the question was, how do you decide which athlete or brand will you pick when you make strategies? Especially
Okay.
as a regional brand, regional company, the choices are very limited.
Regional companies do not have a very big budget, first of all. Let us be very honest. Okay. We may talk, we may debate. Okay. We'll enjoy discussing about brand ambassador. But literally speaking, a lot of regional brands, you take, for example, Saruna stores. The brand ambassador is the owner. Okay. That is how the brand is evolved. But no jokes apart. You see 20 years back, a regional brand like Saruna stores. Okay. Now you see the experience you get in the store now. I see a lot of BMW, all top segment cars is being parked in the what you call in the store. Earlier, I'm talking about the shift thought process of a regional brand. Okay, 20 years back is different. Today is different. They are giving tough fight to the big players like Reliance. So
I'm going to take that as a segue and get Mr. Reddy into this conversation because he spoke about rural sports, bringing back, old sports. If you actually look at the company affairs CSR mandate, the mandate under Schedule 7 says training towards Olympic, Paralympic and rural sports. And today, majority of corporates, at least, for organizations like us, are looking at Olympics and Paralympics. But rural sports has still not got that kind of attention from CSR. So, as a company that has also got audiences, when you mentioned, film stars and thing, is rural sport and CSR an opportunity to really take the sport marketing side in some sense for you?
Okay, from the company point of view, we are limited our CSR spends as of now to women empowerment, women education, women safety, because at the core, women is a consumer. But yes, some organization came to us. We have been sponsored. I mean, for 16 months, we sponsored for a table tennis coaches. We do that. But if some interesting thing, yes, which can make a difference to society, which can promote this rural sports, yes, we'll be there.
I'm going to come to Mr. Anand. How do you, in terms of your company strategies, how do you choose your brand ambassador strategy from a perspective of timelines? I think sometimes we go with whoever's the most famous person, right? But I'm sure there's a lot of data around how you, what are the timelines when you pick a brand ambassador, whether it's a, actor or whether it's anybody. It will be interesting to share with the media personnel here. What are the timelines that you'll look at, or are there any objectives that you'll set in place first?
Yeah. Basically, we have certain objectives with which we do campaigns itself. Every campaign, every new TVC, every new celebrity is actually chosen basing on certain criteria. You want to talk generally?
So could there be multiple ambassadors for multiple campaigns running at the same time?
Yes.
Is there an example you would like to share with us that comes on the top of your mind?
See, basically, I have Mahesh Babu for vermicelli and I had Rashi Khanna for Atta. So I had different objectives for each of them. Now, when it comes to sports, we really wanted to take along, many sports achievers like personalities. But the problem with the sports personality is the moment they win couple of tournaments, some sports management company comes and takes them into their wings and price them out of the market. Unlike a cinema film celebrity, unless you are top 4, the rest of them are very amenable as far as pricing is concerned. I mean, you can take a recognizable face for less than 5 lakhs, whereas it is not the case with sports personality, because the sports management companies project them as though they are the ultimate deliverers. And half of the audience do not even recognize who is the person. See, basically, those are the considerations. The target audience, will they recognize? Will they see them as the achievers? Will they listen to the message being delivered by the celebrity? These are all the conditions under which we select the celebrities.
And I think this is all, gold for people who are planning, right? Because sometimes the assumption is that, oh, you keep seeing the same celebrity in every possible product. But this is an interesting strategy to go
Okay,
for.
I'll share one more nugget. I chose Mahesh Babu because I wanted to attract younger housewives to buy, because my TG is 40 plus, but the younger audiences, the younger female, buyers are not. So I chose Mahesh Babu.
Okay.
I have one advice for all these sports, celebrity managers, that they should be, very amenable as far as the pricing is concerned, so that those sports celebrities will also get funding from companies like us, and they'll become famous otherwise. I know that would be a secondary good avenue for lifelong.
Absolutely. Just one point I wanted to make here is actually India is the only country in the world that rewards athletes after the medal happens.
Yeah.
Nowhere else in the world do they give crores of rupees after you win the medal. The money comes in the stage of junior level. So my request to brands, to media and everyone here is to maybe start small with state level, national level, because they're also
Absolutely.
regional names. And sometimes you're part of those journeys for a longer period. And, when they win, they'll be the most grateful that you've been part of their journeys. So that's just, a request, from somebody on the other side. Abhishek, I'd love to come to you because you're building, properties in non-cricket sports. How important is the role of a fan? And what are the fan engagement strategies that you look at from a branding side as well?
I think our world revolves around fans. I think, really, I think in India we don't treat our fans well. I would love to say that because the experience of a fan when he goes into a cricket stadium is pathetic. I'm sorry, the game is beautiful, but you're checked 1,000 times. You can't, I once took my cap to a game and they didn't let my cap, and it was my favorite cap. So I had to leave it down there and go, and never, of course, got it back. But long story short, I think our effort now is to build the sport around the fan first. And the fan might not necessarily be in the stadium. It could be, in front of a television. So if you look at how we built volleyball was not taking the traditional volleyball and then bringing it to India and then, follow the same path that the Europeans do right now. The reason you quoted a number, which is 205 million. That's a real number in the second year, which is a humongous number, good enough to make us the largest or the most watched volleyball league in the world. In year 2.
I think that deserves a big round of
this is in year 2, which is, we are competing against the Italians who's been doing it for 70 years and, against the best of the world. But the reason it is different is because, again, we put fan first. When you say fan first, we created the game around what keeps the audience glued to the television during that period. It's not just volleyball. We introduced new things such as super point, super serve, which makes it interesting and which makes it worthwhile for you to sit down there and watch it for an hour and a half. We believe somebody giving us that hour and a half of their time is extremely valuable, and we got to take account of the fact that that we have to do what they deserve. Yeah, justice, exactly. Justice to the fans. So we are approaching all the sport that way. Everything I'm getting into now is not just take away the fan from cricket, which is not the idea, but let him watch cricket. But then, create that experience for an hour and a half beyond, just because there's so many competing stuff for that period. Now, in stadium, if you look at one thing I can proudly tell you, I'm quite proud of the fact that after season 2, once our game was done, outside the stadium, the fans didn't want to leave. We quickly set up a DJ, and there were 1,000 people dancing for almost half an hour after the game. And that's sort of an experience that connects to the fans, right? So I want to continue to do that. And I think media is playing, I would like to thank the media as well, because, a lot of, I mean, I don't know if, I can't really see who's there, but lot of media actually helped push this message. When we're talking about cricket and all of that, that's fine. Every time you open a paper now, you see golf, you see, I mean, how many people really read golf, but it is there, the presence is there. You see boxing, you see badminton, you see handball. Media is doing a phenomenal job of it, I would say. They're
Absolutely. We are becoming a multi-sport nation.
absolutely, and
Slowly but surely, I think a multi-sport.
yeah, and the push is coming from the media, which is a big deal. It's not just enough to just throw something out there and expect people to watch. I think media is doing the push. So.
Absolutely. I'm going to kind of move back to you, Venkat, in terms of, you spoke about activation and, he just mentioned about fan. So how integral is the fan in your strategies on activation?
So, well, whenever we are speaking to any brand, what I really mentioned to you, emerging sports are not all about numbers. It's all about activation, right? So what we'll do, we choose the TG and what he's also mentioned on this. For example, we should know about the sports very well, right? In Pro Kabaddi, it's called do or die, super tackle or super 10. What is this all about? So we'll take these kind of, the game on this. Then we speak to the client what they can do associate so that we can create a meaningful association with the sports. It's not that, it's not, that's what I said, it's not all about numbers. We know the sports very well, right? We watch the sports, we know the rules, then we go to the client and talk about how we can associate. It's a meaningful association which you can create so that the fan can get a chance to go and, watch the match and create a content out of it. The journey we create a content, then put it on social media. That's what we told the client to take it in those emerging sports.
Great, thank you. Mr. Reddy, I think since you don't, at this stage, use too much of sport in the strategy, it would be interesting for the audience to understand how do you all go about, choosing an overall strategy for your edible oils? Because you spoke about health, you spoke about 98% penetration. So how is this entire strategy put in place from a media standpoint, on media spends, on media activation? He mentioned about campaigns in that sense. But in your experience, what do you feel is one of the best ways you've seen that has really helped?
So it is about, first of all, understanding the competition, and where is the gap. For us, when Freedom is launched 13 years ago, everybody was talking about health, and sunflower oil means health. So we didn't want to talk about health, but we wanted to talk about fun from the health, which is freedom to eat, freedom to enjoy. So from that, it is in that, I mean, although the brand positioning is like that, but we came with a creative hook called cook more with the less oil. It's not that it consumes less, but then we advise, an advisory kind of thing, use a moderate. So it's about what is that creative gap and brand positioning gap which is available, and what can interest when the consumers are day in out, they're hearing to so many ads, and especially oils and other categories. I should make a difference in their minds. So exactly finding the gap is what is the strategy comes from.
Fantastic, thank you. I know we are running short of time. Can I open it to one question to the audience, if that's okay?
Yeah.
We have a great set of panelists here, and I'm sure we'd like to pick their brains on any question that you may have. Okay, let me ask the question then. Any parting words? This discussion has been really helpful to understand the opportunities in choosing your brand ambassador. So what would be one key takeaway that you'd leave with from this forum and whatever discussion we've had?
Support local sports. Okay, that's what I would like to share.
I would say the same thing. Support local teams.
Yeah, I am also agree with him. Local emerging sports players, we should make them as a brand ambassador, not cricket.
Okay.
Try to identify the local sports celebrities and try to associate a little.
Should make relevance. I mean, whether it is this celebrity or that celebrity, sports or cinema, it's all one thing. It should make relevance to consumers. So if it is sports, yes, sports. If it is Bollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, Tollywood, or maybe a politician, why not? So it should make relevance to consumers.
Yeah, and with that very, very important parting note, thank you so much. It was, when Shankar told me to moderate the session, he's like, we should at least sow the seeds of looking at non-cricket. So I think, we have to some extent been able to do that. So thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your journeys with us. Thank you.